Hi grade 12s and welcome. It's Mr. Mustafa here. In this video we're going to learn about conic sections. There are four types of conic sections, which is parabola, ellipse, circle and hyperbola, and finally we will be classifying conic sections. So let us get straight into learning about the parabola. So in a parabola we have the general form of the equation. So let's write it out. Number one, we have x minus h all squared is equal to 4c into y minus k. Now this value of c represents the focal length, right? That's the focal length. Okay, this value 4c here represents the value of 4c represents the lattice rectum, I will explain what that is. So the absolute value of 4c, the distance, it represents a distance lattice rectum. The h and k, those are the vertex. That's a vertex h and k of the parabola. Now if c is greater than 0, we have a parabola which is, if c is positive, then you have like something like y equals x squared. Alright, so we have a parabola that opens upwards. Now we know the vertex is h and k. The focus is always on the inside of the parabola. The distance from the vertex to the focus is c, right? And the horizontal distance here is called the lattice rectum, right? And that is the distance 4c. The lattice rectum is here, the focus is where the dot is, and the distance from the vertex to a line below, this is called the directrix line, right? So this is what all you need to know. So the equation of the directrix in a in the parabola is y is equal to a constant, right? In other words, y is equal to k, and that's a different k from the vertex. So let's make it k1. Now if c is less than 0, okay, so let's move this across, all this information that we need to know. If c is greater than 0 is positive, right? And if c is less than 0, we have a parabola that opens downwards, right? So the vertex is here, the directrix line is here, right? The distance from the vertex to the directrix line is c, and the distance from the vertex to the focus is also c, right? So that's how you get c there. And the distance from here to there, the horizontal distance passing through the focus point, and which is parallel to the directrix line, is called the lattice rectum. So this is the lattice rectum. Now we know we have a focus, right? We have a focus point, we have a lattice rectum, we have a focal length. Now this is when the parabola opens up upwards and downwards. What happens in the case when it opens sideways? So we have y minus h all squared is equal to 4c into x minus k. Again, your vertex is k. Your vertex is basically, wait, change this into h and k, so you can get the h by the x and k by the y. So that's h and k is a vertex. If c is positive, then we have a parabola which is opening up to the side. That's where the focus is, that's a vertex, and the directrix line is x is equal to a constant, right? If c is negative, then we have a parabola which is opening up to the left. It opens up left. this is opening up to the right, this is to the left. So focus is inside here. The distance from the vertex to the focus is C, and the distance from the vertex to the directrix line is also C. Okay, so I hope you guys understood that. Now let us get straight into problem solving, and we will solve about 10 problems on parabola. So let's look at the types of questions that we have here. So what is the standard form of a parabola that opens upwards with a vertex at the origin? They're telling us that the vertex is at the origin, so we're going to write it out as if the vertex is at the origin, we have something like this, right? And this is y minus k all squared is equal to 4c into x minus h. We know 0, 0 is a vertex, so h and k are 0, 0. So y squared equals 4c x, right? Now if you have to solve for 1 second, should be not y, when it opens upwards is x. See there, it's x minus h, so it should be x minus h, right? X minus h all squared is equal to y minus k. Now solving this, we're getting x squared, same, h and k are 0, 0, 4cy. Now if you're solving for this, you're going to write divide both sides by 4c, so you got 1 over 4cx. Now you can make this is a square, that's a square. You can just make 1 over 4c as another constant. Remember, 1 over 4c is already a constant, so you can make this into another constant, which is represented by a. Okay, so my answer is y equals ax squared. I hope you understood that. Next question, what is the vertex of the parabola? To find the vertex of the parabola, we just take this 4 over, so we got y minus 4 equals 2 into x minus 3 all squared. Now I know that we have the square usually on the other side. No need to write the equation in standard form because we're just finding the vertex. So to find the vertex is basically 3 and 4. So your answer should be A there, 3 and 4. What is the focus of the parabola? We know that we know 4c is equal to 8. So we know c is equal to 2, 8 divided by 4. Because c is positive, is greater than 0 and is positive, the value of c is 2. We know that the parabola opens up to the right. Okay, it opens up to the right, and we know the vertex is 0, 0. And to find the focus, remember we need to go 2 units on the inside. The focus is always on the inside. So if you go 2 units to the right, 0 plus 2 is 2. So the focus is 2, 0. I hope you understood that. What is the directrix of the parabola? The directrix of the parabola is y equals, okay, so we have y equals x squared. So 4c is equal to negative 12. We know the value of c is negative 3. It is less than 0. So we have a parabola which opens downwards, right? And the vertex is already 0, 0. So the focus is on the inside, the directrix line is above. So we know the value of c is 3, the focal length is 3. The focal length is 3, but the value of c itself determines whether the parabola opens up, down, left or right. So if we go 3 units up, you're going to get 0 and 3. If you go 3 units up, so you're going to add to this, that point will be 0 and 3, and the equation of this is y is equal to k, so that's the value 3 there. So y is equal to 3. That's the equation of the directrix line. Question 5. What is the axis of symmetry of the parabola? Axis of symmetry is a line that divides the parabola into 2 equal halves. So we know the vertex bringing the minus 5 over, so we're getting y plus 5 is equal to minus 3 into x plus 2, right, all squared. So we know the vertex is minus 2 and 5. So we want to find the axis of symmetry. We know that this parabola here opens downwards, right, because this is negative. It's like saying y equals negative f of x function, right? Remember the standard form, you know, the TP form, a into x minus p all squared plus q. So p and q is your turning point or your vertex form. Remember, this is also the vertex form from grade 11 knowledge. So the vertex form, and we know that this parabola opens downwards, right? But we already know that the vertex is -2 and 5. If the vertex is -2 and 5, what's the equation of the axis of symmetry? It's a line that cuts the parabola into two equal halves. So it's a line that cuts the x-axis at some point. It's a vertical line. The equation of the vertical line is x is equal to a constant. So what's that constant? -2. You take it from the turning point. So what's the equation? X is equal to -2, and that's my answer. Next question. What is the equation of the parabola with vertex at 1 and -2 and focus 1, 0? When you're looking at this parabola, we know that the vertex is 1 and -2. The focus is supposed to be on the inside, but from -2 we went to 0, so we kind of like added 2. So your parabola has to be opening up upwards. So it opens upwards, so what we can say is 1 and -2, and if you add 2 to this point, you're going to get a focus which is 1 and 0. So what is the equation? So from 1 and -2 we went to 1 and 0. So what's the focal length? The value of C is positive. It is 2. Why it is positive? Because it's opening up upwards. If it opens upwards, the value of C is 2. So let's write this parabola in standard form. So we got x minus h all squared equals 4c into y minus k. Now h and k is basically, h is 1, right, and k is, you need to take the opposite sign and put it in there. We got the value of c, which is 2, so 4 times 2 is 8. So we have x minus 1 all squared equals 8. 8 into y plus 2. I hope you understood that. Let's change this color here. So you got x minus 1 all squared is equal to, remember 4c is 8 into y plus 2. So that's your answer. Next one. What is the equation of the directrix of the parabola? Equation of the directrix, let's write this in standard form. Remember to put the squares on the left hand side. So we got x squared, quarter x squared is equal to y. Multiplying both sides by 4, you get x squared is equal to 4y. Alright, you got x squared equals 4y. So we know from here 4c is equal to 4, c is equal to 1, it is positive. So we know that the parabola opens upwards. So if the parabola opens upwards, right, the vertex is 0, 0 from this equation. The focal point is on the inside and the directrix is at the bottom. So if you're going to go directrix at the bottom, you're going to go 1 unit down. So you will get this point to be 0 and -1. So y is equal to -1. I hope you understood that. We have to move focal distance, right, up and down. If you go up, you will end up at the focus point. Focus is a point. And if you come down, you'll end up at the directrix line. And what you come up and down with the focal length, you need to add the focal length to the vertex y value because it's opening up and down. What is the vertex of the parabola? To find the vertex of the parabola, we're just going to take this 4 over. So we're getting x minus 4 is equal to -2 into y plus 3 all squared. So no need to write this in standard form. To find the vertex, look at the change in x, transformation in x, and transformation in y. So the vertex is just 4 and -3. I hope you understood that. So that answer is also A. So far all the answers are A. Right, let's look at the next one. What is the focus of the parabola? To find the focus of the parabola, first we find the vertex. We know that the vertex is 1 and 2. And 4c is equal to 16. So c is equal to 4 from here. right? So we have the focal length, which is 4 and is greater than 0. We have x equals y squared, so that is opening to the right, and the vertex is 1 and 2, right? Now to find the focus, we're going to add 4 to the x value, because you're moving to the right. Only if you move up and down we change the y value. So the focus is basically 1 plus 4, 5 and 2. So that's my answer, 5 and 2. I hope you guys are understanding. What is the parabola with vertex 0, 0 and the directrix y equals 2? Because the directrix is y is equal to 2, this parabola has to open downwards. Why? Because 0, 0 is here, right? And 2 is here, y is equal to 2. The directrix line is on the outside, okay? And 0, 0 is at the bottom. Alright, so the distance from there to there is 2, okay? So the c value is 2. So what is 4c? 4c is equal to 8. No, the value of c shouldn't be 2, the value of c should be -2, because it's opening downwards, okay? So just be careful, because it's opening downwards, c value is -2. So when you're writing this out, is 4c is equal to 4 times -2, which is -8. And now we're going to write this parabola opening downwards. So you say x minus k all squared is equal to 4c into y minus, it shouldn't be k, it should be h and k, alright? H first, then k, alphabetical order. Y minus k. So h is 0, k is 0, because the vertex is 0, 0. H and k are vertices. So we get x squared is equal to 4c was -8 and k is 0, so -8y. I hope you guys understood that. Now we move on to ellipse. So what is an ellipse? Let's do some notes for ellipse. Right, so we have x minus h all squared over a squared plus y minus k all squared over b squared is equal to 1. That's the general form, general equation of an ellipse. If a squared is greater than b squared, okay, if a squared is greater than b squared, then we will have, if a squared is greater than b squared, or if you find that a is greater than b, or a is greater than b, then you will find that we have an ellipse which is stretched along the x-axis, right? And this is called the major axis. The center of the ellipse, remember this has a center, the center of the ellipse is h and k, right? That's the center of the ellipse, right? This is the major axis. That's the major axis, right? And then we have two vertices. We have vertices 1 and we have vertices 2, right? And the others are co-vertices, all right? If you go from there to there, this is the minor axis, this is co-vertices 1, co-vertex 2, right? And the focus is on the inside of the ellipse. The focus is here, focus 1, right? And focus 2. So from the center to the focus 1 is the value for C. From the center to the focus 2 is also value of C. From the center to the vertex is a value of A, right? It's a A value. From center to vertex is A value, and from center to vertex 2 is also A value. So from here to there is A value, and from there to there is also A value. Now if you want to find the distance of the major axis, right, distance of the major axis, it's just going to be 2a. You can see a plus a is 2a. If you want to find the distance between the foci, right, one focus, many foci, right, so Right, so distance of the distance between the foci will be basically 2c. Now what is c? C squared is equal to a squared minus b squared. That's what c is. Now in order to solve this, you need to take a square root and solve. Now this is when the ellipse is stretched horizontally, because you see you have a squared here and you got the x, so that tells us it's stretched along x. Now when will it be stretched along y? If b squared is greater than a squared, if you find that this value is greater than this value, or you find that b is greater than a, right, then you will find that you will get an ellipse that forms like this, right? It's going to be, the major axis will be along the y-axis. The major axis will be basically parallel to the y-axis. So again, the center is here, the vertices are here, vertex 1, vertex 2, the foci are here, focus 1, focus 2, right? And that's the center, which is h and k. I should just write h and k there, right? Right, so this is all your notes on the ellipse, and now we can start solving problems, because these are the main concepts that you need to know. Alright, so let's start solving those problems. Have about 10 problems for you to solve. Alright, so question 11. What is the standard form of an ellipse centered at the origin? Because this is centered at the origin, the center is 0, 0, okay? With a horizontal major axis. They're telling us that the major axis is horizontal. So if the major axis is horizontal, what should be on top? It should be x. So you know the general form is x minus h all squared over a squared plus y minus k all squared over b squared is equal to 1. We know h and k is 0, 0, so obviously the answer turns out to be a. I hope you guys understood that. What is the center of the ellipse? Very simple. The center of the ellipse, take opposite sign here, x value first, y value second. So the center is just 3 and negative 2. Number 13. What is the length of the major axis of the ellipse? The length of the major axis will be along x, right? So remember, we have an ellipse here, right? And we want to find the length of the major axis. The length of the major axis is 2a, okay? So we have a center here which is 0, 0, right? We want to find a value between the two vertices. That's the length of the major axis. Now, why did I stretch the ellipse horizontally? Because x value appears first and 25 is greater than 9. Now, we're going to say a squared is equal to 25. So a is equal to 5. So therefore, what's the length? So the length is 2a, and 2 times 5 is 10. I hope you guys understood that. What is the eccentricity? Now, what is an eccentricity? Eccentricity is a value that determines the type of conic section, right? So I should have done it in an ellipse. Let's go whilst we're here. So eccentricity is this value here, E eccentricity. So that is C over A. You know how to get C over A. If eccentricity is equal to 0, then we get a circle, right? If the eccentricity is between 0 and 1, then we get an ellipse, right? And if the eccentricity is greater than 1, we get a hyperbola, right? So now in this eccentricity for hyperbola, we have a different formula for c squared. So c squared will become a squared plus b squared, okay? But for these two, to find the eccentricity for the first two, to find the eccentricity for the circle and the ellipse, to find c squared, you're going to get a squared minus b squared. So that's important to note. Now let's go back to our eccentricity problem. Now eccentricity problem is here. So the eccentricity of the ellipse, so we know c squared is equal to a squared minus b squared. A is 16 minus 9. A squared is 16, b squared is 9. That's going to give me 7. So the value of c squared is 7, so the value of c will be square root of 7. And then we also need to find a. E is equal to c over a. We know this is root 7. And to find a, it is just 4, square root of 16. Remember, a squared is equal to 16, therefore a is equal to 4, square root both sides. We don't need to take plus minus here because most of the values are basically positive. I hope you guys understood that. Next question. What are the foci of the ellipse? So now this ellipse is stretched horizontally, right? So be careful how you're sketching the ellipse. How we know it's stretched horizontally? Because we got x squared and 25 is under x squared. The bigger number is under x squared. Wherever the bigger number is, that's where it's stretched along. Now we know the center is 0, 0, right? Now the foci is on the inside, f1, f2, the two focus, right? Now the distance from the center to the foci is c and c. So we need to solve for c. How do we solve for c? C squared is equal to a squared minus b squared, so 25 minus 16, which is 9. So the value for c is square root of 9, which is 3. So from 0 you need to move 3 units to the left. So f1 is what? Negative 3, 0. And f2 is move 3 units to the right. So 0 plus 3 is 3, 3, 0. So you can combine these two and make it into one foci. So plus minus 3, 0. So I hope you guys understood that. Next question. What is the equation of an ellipse with foci plus minus 4 and 0? The foci is plus minus 4 and 0 and a major axis length of 10. So let's see. Plus minus 4 and 0, that's sitting on the x-axis, right? That basically just sits on the x-axis, so it's stretched along the x. How we know it's stretched along the x? Look at the foci. It is basically, the center is here, is minus 4, 0, that's focus 1, and focus 2 is 4, 0. In other words, the center was already 0, 0. And the major axis, the length is 10. The length is 10, so the c value is 4. The major axis length is 10. So remember, 2a is equal to 10, so the value of a is 5. Right? Now we need to find b. So we're going to say c squared is equal to a squared minus b squared. C squared is 16, a squared is 25 minus b squared. So b squared, you're going to take that over and bring the 16 over, so you get 25 minus 16, which is 9. So we got b squared, which is 9. So what's the equation? Equation is x squared over, if you're going to write the full equation out with filling in everything, x minus h all squared over a squared plus y minus k all squared over b squared is equal to 1. H and k is 0, 0, that's the center. So x squared, what's a squared? A squared is 25. And y minus 0 squared, so y squared over b squared is 9, is equal to 1. So option number 1. I hope you guys understood that. Moving on to the next problem. Let's see. What is the sum of the distances from any point on the ellipse to its two foci? So I'm just drawing a general ellipse, right? What is the sum of the distances from any point on the ellipse, right? Any point on the ellipse, not inside the ellipse, right? So we have center, I'm just giving you 0, 0, right? Let's just take, for example, that above equation here. So I'm just going to draw that over here. right? So we have minus 4 and 4. And that is 25 and 16, right? That should be 3 and that should be negative 3. Why? Because center is 0, 0, right? So that's a minor axis. If you take the square root of 9, you get 3. So you move 3 up, 3 down, right? And the distance from there to there was 5. So negative 5 and 5. Now trying to understand this. So if you take any point on the ellipse, if I take any point on the ellipse, I'm just taking a point here above, right? Just 1 second, let's change the color here. Right, so if you take any point on the ellipse, what is the sum of the distances from any point on the ellipse to its two foci? So there's the two foci, any points on the ellipse. So we got 3, 4, 5 triangle, that's 5. 3, 4, 5 triangle, so 5. So it's basically equal to 5 plus 5 is 10, right? So from minus 5 to 5, so equal to the length of the major axis. That's what it is. That's basically one of the properties of an ellipse. Just a theoretical question. You can see I use Pythagoras here. The distance from the center to there is 3. The distance from here to there is 4. It's a 3, 4, 5 triangle. 3, 4, 5 triangle. So I took a point on the ellipse to the foci, to the focus 1, that's 5. Point on the ellipse to focus 2, that's also 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. And from there to there and from there to there is equal to the major axis. That's correct. Next question. The semi-major axis or the minor axis is the smaller one, like what I drew above. What is the equation of the ellipse with a vertical major axis? So the ellipse is stretched along y, right? So they're telling us that's a vertical major axis, right? Major axis is vertical or is along y. What is the equation of the ellipse with a vertical major axis centered at 2, 1? The center is 2 and negative 1, right? Semi-major axis is 6 and semi-minor axis is 4. The major axis, I should just call it major axis, not semi-minor. Major axis and minor axis, right? So the major axis is 6. No. What they mean by semi-major axis, what do they mean by semi-major axis? It's basically the distance from here, from the center to there, right? And the distance from there to there. The entire thing is a major axis. So this is semi-major axis and semi-major axis. So they're trying to be, just the wording is a bit confusing. Just be careful there. Right, so from the center to the semi-major axis, major axis is 6. So the distance from there to there is 6. And the distance from there to there is also 6. And the minor axis is 4. In other words, they gave us the values of A and B. Okay? So the value of A is 6 and the value of B is 4. Okay? So what will the equations be? If the value of A is 6, the value of B is 4, remember the center is 2 and minus 1, so we're looking at x minus 2, right? Now the A value has to be along y, right? So there's a 36 here, y plus 1. So x minus 2, y plus 1. That's what we need to determine first. X minus 2 squared plus y plus 1 squared is equal to 1. Remember, we still need to put the a squared and the b squared. So the a squared will go here, the bigger value will go here, right? So the bigger value will go here, which is 36, and over here the smaller value, which is 4, which is 16. So that should be answer. That's it. Option 1. I hope you guys understood that. Next question. What is the length of the minor axis of the ellipse? The length of the minor axis of the ellipse is, where's the minor axis? That's the major axis, because 25 is bigger. The minor axis is here. So we know a squared is equal to 9, so a is equal to 3. Okay, square root of 9 is 3. So the length of the minor axis is equal to 2a, and 2 times 3 is 6. I hope you guys understood that. Just one second, let's just go back up. I don't want to confuse you, so I'm going to change the a and the b around. A is 4, b is 6. So you can see 4 squared and 6 squared. This is bigger, so it's stretched along, it's stretched horizontally, stretched vertically. What is the eccentricity of an ellipse if the distance between the foci is 8 and the length of the major axis is 10? Right, so we can do it anyhow. Let me just do it horizontally. Right, so we have the center of the ellipse here. Right, so the center is, let me just make 0, 0 is fine. What is the eccentricity of the ellipse? If the major axis is 10, the distance of the major axis is 10, so it's going to be 5 and 5, right? And the focus is here and the focus is there, right? Let's make it 5 and 5. That's 5 and that's 5. The distance from here to there is 5, and the distance between the foci is 8, so 8 divided by 2, because you have focus 1 and focus 2. The major axis is between the vertices, vertex 1, vertex 2, so it has to be 4 and 4, because 4 plus 4 is 8, right? Now what is the eccentricity? We know c squared is equal to a squared minus b squared, right? So c squared is 5. Remember the value for c is from the center to the focus, so that is 4. So 4 squared. A value is 5. 5 squared. Alright, so we already have c and a, so there's nothing to do here, no need to solve for b, right? So therefore eccentricity is just c over a. C is 5, C is 4. C is 4 and A is 5, so 4 over 5, or you can say 0.8. You can see that these values, 4 over 5, which is 0.8, is between 0 and 1, so it's an ellipse. That's how you classify using eccentricity what type of a conic section this is. Now let's move on to circles. Just quick theory on circles is very simple, not difficult at all. Right, so let's look at the theory on circles. Remember, the eccentricity for a circle is always 0, so then it's a circle, right? Now equation of a circle, just x minus h all squared plus y minus k all squared is equal to r squared. That r squared is basically the radius. Okay, so the center is h and k, and radius is equal to r, not r squared, the radius is r. Now how does this work? Let's draw a circle here. And now remember, the diameter is twice the radius. So the center is here. Center is h and k in the circle, right? And let me just draw a diameter. So you can say radius, radius and radius. Okay, so we have radius 1, and those are all radii. So this is also a radius here, right? And there are many radii in a circle. So that's what a circle equation is. All you need for a circle equation is center and radius. Now if just in case if they give you two different points here, remember the center is the midpoint of the diameter. The midpoint of the diameter will give you the center. Exactly halfway between the diameter will be the center. Diameter is a line that passes through the center of the circle. Now that's all theory there is. So let's go straight into the questions and solving these types of problems with circles. The question number 21, just looking at this thing that we printed out, should be 16 there, right? This here should be 16, right? Just correct that. Now, what is the center and radius of the circle given by the equation? So the center is 3 and -5, and r squared is equal to 16, so r is equal to 4. So the radius is 4, center is 3 and -5. I hope you understood that. So it's option A. Moving on to the next problem. Which of the following represents the standard form of a circle with center HK and radius R? I just showed you that. So it's option A. The equation x squared plus y squared minus 6x plus 8y minus 11 equals 0 represents a circle. What is its center? All you need to do for the center is rearrange this. You're going to write x squared minus 6x plus y squared plus 8y minus 11 is equal to 0. So I put all the x's together, right? I put all the y's together. Now, to find the center, you're going to take this minus 6, opposite sign of this, and you're going to divide by 2. So minus 6 divided by 2, right? So you're going to take the opposite sign, so positive 6 divided by 2. You're going to take the opposite sign of the 8, so you're going to take minus 8 and divide it by 2. So what's the center? Center is 3 and -4. Simple, right? Next question. Something similar to this. They said, what is the radius of the circle defined by x squared plus y squared plus 10x minus 6y plus 30 is equal to 0. So simple. Group all the x's together. It's kind of like completing the square, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to write x squared plus 10x, leave a space here, plus something squared, plus y squared. I'm trying to group the y's now, right? So I'm going to write y squared minus 6y plus something squared is equal to, so what I've done is, look at the yellow, x squared plus 10x, I left a space here and I squared it, and then I said y squared minus 6y and I put plus something squared. Alright, now all the constants you take on to the other side, that's 30. So that's going to give me -30. -30, right? Now, whatever you add on the left hand side, you must do the same on the right hand side. So what am I adding here? I'm taking 10 and I'm going to divide it by 2. I'm going to take minus 6 and I'm going to divide it by 2. So 10 divided by 2 is what? 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 squared is 25. So I'm adding 25 here. Plus minus 6 divided by 2 is minus 3. Minus 3 squared is 9. So I'm also adding 9 there. Now, I hope this works out. Let's see. We took the 30 over 3. We are adding 9 and we are adding 25, right? So now this one here is a perfect square. So you take, what's the value of 10 divided by 2? That's 5 plus y squared minus 6 divided by 2 is -3, right? And thus equals to 4. Okay, now how we got 4? Minus 30 plus 25 is minus 5. Minus 5 plus 9 is 4. Now the value of 4 is r squared. R squared is equal to 4, so r is equal to 2. And that's how you solve from the general equation what is the radius. So the radius is 2. I hope you understood that. If a circle has a center -2 and 1 and passes through the point 1 and 5, what is its radius? So it's nice to draw this and check what's happening with this question. remember the circle center is -2 and 1, and it passes through the point 1 and 5. It passes through the point 1 and 5, -2 and 1, that's basically in the second quadrant, and 1 and 5 is yeah, so that point is somewhere around there. Okay, 1 and 5, so that's the radius. So what is the radius? We need to use the distance formula to find the radius. So r is equal to the square root of, we're using the distance formula to find the radius, so 5 minus 1, sorry, x2 minus x1, so -2 minus 1 squared, plus you take this value minus that value, take 1 and minus 5, so we're getting r is equal to square root of, that's 9, because -3 squared is 9, and plus 16, right? 9 plus 16 is 25, and the square root of 25 is 5. So the radius is 5. What is its radius? Radius is 5. I hope you understood that, just using distance formula. And guys, you have to try to visualize the types of diagram that you get. This is very important for problem solving. Next one. Which of the following equations represents a circle with center 0, 0 and radius 7? Radius 7, so obviously it can't be this one, because on the other side of the equation we must have 7 squared. So x squared plus y squared equals 7 squared. 7 squared is 49. So equation 1. In other words, what I did was is x minus 0 all squared plus y minus 0 all squared is equal to 7 squared. So that's how you get x squared plus y squared equals 49. I hope you understood that. Next one. The equation x plus 4 all squared plus y minus 2 all squared is equal to 25 represents a circle. What is its diameter? We know the radius is r squared is equal to 25, so r is equal to 5. So the diameter is 2r, which is 10. So the diameter is 10. I hope you guys understood that. We don't need to worry about the center. We only focus on the radius. Radius is the diameter is twice the radius. What is the equation of the circle with center 5 and -3 and radius 6? So x minus 5 squared plus y plus 3 all squared is equal to 6 squared. 6 squared is 36. So option 1. Question 29. If the equation of a circle is this one, what is the length of the radius? Again, similar problem to what we had before, completing the square. So we're going to take x squared. You know what, there is an easier way. We can just take -8 divided by 2 and square it. So look at all the constants, the coefficient of x and the coefficient of y. So we're going to take the 43 over to the other side. We don't care what's on this side because we're trying to find the radius. So if you take the 43 over, you're going to get -43, plus you take this -8 and you divide it by 2 and you square it, plus you take the 12 and divide by 2 and you square it. So 12 divided by 2 and you square it, and that's what r squared is. So r squared is equal to -43 plus 16, right? That's -4, yes, and we have plus 36. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 squared is 36. So we have 36 plus 16, that's going to give me 52, and 52 minus 43 is going to give me, let me see, find the what is the length of the radius. Length of the radius. Did I do everything correct here? Let's check. -43 plus 36 is let's see, -43, 16 plus 36 is 52, right? 52 minus 43 is 9. Yes, is equal to 9. So since r squared is equal to 9, r is equal to 3. Okay, so it's option B. I hope you guys understood that. Just double checking if our answer is correct. Yes, it's correct. Next one. A circle has a diameter with endpoints. This is a nice question. What is its equation? Nice question, very nice question. You need to visualize. Right, so we only have endpoints. The diameter's endpoints are these, right? So we need to find the center by using the midpoint, right? So the endpoints of the diameter is 2 and minus 1 and minus 6 and 7. 2 and minus 1. I'm just trying to figure out which quadrant this is in. 2 and negative 1 and minus 6 and 7. Yeah, it's fine. You can put 2 and negative 1 here. That's 2 and negative 1 and minus 6 and 7. Right? So first we find the center. Center is midpoint. So add the 2x values divided by 2. So 2 minus 6 divided by 2. Minus 1 plus 7 divided by 2. So the center is now minus 4 divided by 2 is minus 2. And 6 divided by 2, which is 3. So we got the center. What's the radius? The radius is simple. The center is minus 2 and 3. So the radius is here. So find the distance. Use the distance formula to find the radius. So radius is equal to square root of minus 2 squared plus 3 minus 1, so 3 plus 1 squared. So r is equal to the square root of 16 plus 16, which is square root of 32. R is equal to square root of 32, therefore r squared is 32. Now what's the equation of the circle? We have the center and we have the r squared. So the equation of the circle is x plus 2 all squared plus y minus 3 all squared is equal to 32. I hope you guys understood that. So that's option A. Okay, I hope you guys are understanding. Now let's go and learn about hyperbola. Hyperbola notes. So we have two parts again. Right, in a hyperbola we have a general form, which is x minus h all squared over a squared minus, very important, there's a minus there, and then ellipse is plus over y minus k all squared over b squared is equal to 1. Now this is a hyperbola if a squared is greater than b squared. Then this hyperbola is based, not if a squared is greater than b squared, sorry, if see the positive part, because this is the positive part, the transverse axis will be horizontal. So transverse axis is horizontal. In other words, you have a horizontal parabola, horizontal hyperbola. So what does it look like? Your hyperbola will look like this. Just putting the, okay, and you have another hyperbola that looks like this. The center is h and k, right? That's the center, which is h and k. The focus will be here, the foci. These are the vertices, okay? The distance from the center to the vertex is this value of a. The distance from the center to the focus is the value of c, because that's a focus 1, right? And that's focus 2. So now how you find c? C squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. Remember, the eccentricity is c over a, and it's always greater than 1 for a hyperbola. Now similarly, that's the transverse axis is horizontal, right? So what's this axis here? This axis is the conjugate axis. The conjugate axis is vertical. The conjugate axis is usually negative. The transverse axis is always positive. So transverse positive, conjugate axis is negative. T positive, C negative. Now we also have asymptotes. What are the asymptotes in a hyperbola? So the asymptote passes through the center. Okay, and is exactly symmetrical. So what are the asymptotes? The asymptotes is given by y minus k. See, y minus k is equal to is asymptotes. So basically there is the equation of these broken lines. Remember, the graph can't touch the asymptotes. Y minus k plus minus, in this case, remember, we need to put a slope here. The slope here is change in y over change in x. So change in y is the b part, b over a into x minus h. Okay, so I hope you guys understood that. These are all the important. So that's only for part 1, right? And part 2 is something similar, where we put this first and then that second. So we got y minus k squared over a squared minus, it doesn't matter what values you put here, you can put b and a, it doesn't matter. So this is b, and x minus h all squared over a squared is equal to 1. So where's the transverse axis? The transverse axis is here, the positive. T positive, C negative. The conjugate is negative, right? So this is vertical parabola. So vertical hyperbola. It's a hyperbola. It shouldn't be shaped like a parabola, obviously. The center is h and k. Let me just draw the center line, so I'll show you what this hyperbola look like, right? Remember, the vertex is here, vertex is there, so it goes close there and close there, goes close to that asymptote and goes close to that asymptote, right? That's the vertices, vertex. The focus is here, focus 1. These are the vertices, vertex 1, vertex 2, focus 1, focus 2. So transverse axis is vertical, right? And the conjugate axis, is horizontal. Okay, and what are the asymptotes? What are the asymptotes? Asymptote is y minus k equals plus minus b over a again, because I changed this around. If you put a here and b there, then is the square root of that, so it's still b over a into x minus h. Now if you put it as a and b, then obviously you need to change it around here. A and b, I said, right? So let's just make it a squared and b squared, right? So then I have to change it here. Under the y is a, so a over b then in this case. Okay, so I hope you understood that. And those are the two. So it depends which part of the hyperbola is positive. You get one positive, one negative, right? So that's where if it's starting with y being positive, then it's vertical, right? The transverse axis is vertical, so you get a vertical hyperbola. And if the x part is positive, then you get a horizontal hyperbola. I hope you understood that. Now let's answer the questions. Question number 31. What is the center of the hyperbola given? What's the center? 2 and negative 3. Center is always simple, right? So it's always the shift part. 2 and negative 3. So it's option 1, right? Center. Next one, remember what type of hyperbola is this? This is x being positive, so it's a hyperbola along a horizontal hyperbola, right? It's a hyperbola being like that, and the center is there. Okay, you put everything else there. Remember, that's the vertices, that's a foci. Now next one, number 32. Which of the following represents the standard form of a horizontal hyperbola? The horizontal hyperbola, which of the following is the horizontal hyperbola with center h and k? So horizontal hyperbola is the one that's positive. See, this part is positive, so it's option 1. It can't be this one because that's vertical. Option C is not even a hyperbola, that's an ellipse. And option D is also option D. We got B and A. See, this is switched around, B and A, even though this is positive. So yeah, that's switched around, so go with A. Next one, H and K, B and A. Yeah, they switched this around, B and A. Should be A and B. That's horizontal hyperbola, right? So it's option A. It could be this one because we don't really care about the values of A and B unless we put extra risk. Yeah, A and B values doesn't really matter. Yeah, so we'll just go with the first one. Number 33. What are the vertices of the hyperbola? What are the vertices of the hyperbola? Right, first we get the center, right? And this is the transverse axis is positive, right? So let me just draw the hyperbola here, right? So these are the vertices, all right? We want to find the vertices. There's 2 vertices. The center, what is the center? The center is -1 and 4, right? So the center is sorted out. Let's look at the vertex 1 and vertex 2. In order to get, what's the distance from the center to the vertex? From the center to the vertex is the square root of 25, right? So a squared is equal to 25, a is equal to 5. So now you're going to add 5 to the left and 5 to the right. So if you go 5 left from -1, you're going to end up at -5 and 4. And if you go 5 to the right, you're going to end up at 4 and 4. If you go 5 to the left, you're going to end up at -6 and 4, sorry. -6 and 4, and if you go 5, yeah, so you're going to end up with 4 and 4 because you're adding 5 left and 5 right. So those are the vertices. The foci of the hyperbola. So this is, the transverse axis is vertical, so it's a vertical hyperbola. Right, the foci is on the inside, 1, right? So that's f1 and that's f2. Now to find the foci, we need a focal length. The center is what? The center is -3. X value first. Be careful, don't put 2 and -3. It's -3 and 2. Right, so that's the center. Now we need the value for C, alright? So C squared is equal to 16 plus 9, A squared plus B squared, which is 25. So the value for C is 5. So from the center to the focus, right? From the center to the focus. So we're coming down. We need to change the Y values. So 2 plus 5 is 7. So -3 and 7. And 2 minus 5. -3 and -3. So those are the foci. One focus, many foci. What is the equation of the hyperbola? What is the equation of the hyperbola with center 1 and -2, vertices 1, 2, 1 and -6, and foci at 1, 4 and 1 and -8. Remember, we're only changing the Y values here. You can see the foci, only the Y values are changing, the X values are constant. So this is a vertical hyperbola. Right, what's the center? The center is 1 and -2. Right, vertices is 1 and 2. and 1 and negative 6. So what's the distance from minus 2 to 2? The distance is 4. That's the center, that's the vertex 2. So that the distance from the center to the vertex is 4. So the a value is 4. A squared is equal to 16. Okay, so that's going to be under the y, because this part will be positive. The transverse axis is positive. The transverse axis is vertical. So this part will be under y. Now, and the foci is at 1 and 4. Foci is at 1 and 4. So 1 and 4. So you're further adding 2 there. So that would have been 6. So the value, because remember, from the center to the vertex, see, center to vertex is 4, and from the vertex to the foci is another 2. So 4 plus 2 is 6. So the value for C is 6. So C squared is equal to 36. Now we need to find B. A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. A squared is 16 plus B squared is equal to C squared, which is 36. So B squared is equal to 20. 36 minus 16. So what's the equation? Transverse axis is vertical, so that should be the positive part, right? So the positive part is y. What's the value at the center? Minus 2. So y plus 2 all squared over 16. That part needs to come first. 16 minus x minus 1 squared over 20 is equal to 1. So option number 1. I hope you understood that. Make sure that you know how to visualize the hyperbola using these information. Next question. The asymptotes of the hyperbola are, what's the asymptote? We're going to start with y plus 1 is equal to plus minus x minus 4. Now it's going to be, remember this is your a squared and your b squared, or a squared and b squared. So a squared is 9, so a is equal to 3. B squared is 4, so b is equal to 2, square root. So it's going to be b over a, it's going to be 2 over 3. Change in y, there's a y part here, 2 over 3 into x minus 4. Hope you understood that. Right? So y plus 1 plus minus 2 over 3 x minus 4. Right, so option number 1. Which hyperbola has a vertical transverse axis? Vertical transverse axis, which one? It can't be this one because this is horizontal. X is horizontal, y is vertical, so that's vertical, right? Why can't it be this one? We usually say that this value is greater than this value. Yeah, looks like that's what we are saying. We are usually saying that this value is greater than that value. This value is greater. Doesn't work here though. Vertical transverse axis. Vertical transverse axis is this one here. Why can't it be D? It can't be D because there's a plus, right? So vertical transverse axis is only B, because transverse axis needs to be positive. The conjugate axis is negative. Yeah, so is option B. Transverse, the positive part, because they said vertical, is dealing with Y, right? So is option B. Nice theoretical question. What is the eccentricity of the hyperbola? Eccentricity of the hyperbola, E is equal to C over A. C squared is equal to 36 plus 64. That's going to give me 100. So the value of C is 10. And we know what A is. This is that first value there, right? This value of 36. A squared is equal to 36. So A is equal to 6. Yeah, we usually take A as first and B as second. So the value for C is 10 over 6. 10 over 6 is 5. 10 over 6, yeah, we do have 10 over 6, it's 5 over 3. They shouldn't have put 10 over 6. Right, so the answer is B there. Next question. If the hyperbola has foci at 3 and minus 2 and 3 and 8 and vertices at 3, 0 and 3, 6, what is its equation? Nice question. Looking at the x values, right, so we are not changing the x values, we're only changing the y values. So it's basically a vertical, right? It's a vertical hyperbola, right? Because we're only changing the y values. Look at the foci, right? So f1, there's a center there, and there's f2 here, right? Right, now f2 is 3 and minus 2, and f1 is 3 and 8. So the distance from the center to the foci, right, and the center to the second foci is basically from minus 2 to 8, which is 10. Minus 2 to 8, which is 10. So 2c is equal to 10, therefore c is equal to 5. So we know what c is. Okay, we know the value for c. Then the vertices, vertex is 3, 0, right, and the next vertex is 3 and 6, right? 3, 0 and 3, 6 should be up, and 3, 0 should be down here. So from 0 to 6 is so 2a is equal to 6, a is equal to 3. Okay, so that's going to be a value under the y. Okay, now the midpoint of the vertices will give you the center. So the midpoint of the vertex is, because it's vertical, the center will just be 3, and 6 plus 0, the midpoint is 3. So the center is 3 and 3. Okay, what is the center? 3, 0 and 3 and 6. 3, 0, 3 and 6. So the center is 3 and 3. Right, perfect. So I'll start writing the hyperbola equation. So y minus k all squared over a squared minus x minus h squared over b squared is equal to 1. What's k? 3. So y minus 3 all squared over, what's a squared? A squared is 3 squared, which is 9, minus x minus 3, that's the center, over something squared is equal to 1. We still need to find that. What is this value here? Yeah, so we kind of need to figure out what that value is. Let's figure it out. Yes, how are we going to find this value here? Yes, that value there is 2a is equal to 6, so a is equal to 3. Yes, need to find the value. Right, so looking at these options, obviously can't be option A because y minus 3. The only one that looks like what we have here can't be y minus 3 squared, x minus 3. It can't be 16 at the bottom for y. It has to be 9 at the bottom. Yeah, so c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. C squared is 25, a squared is 9 plus b squared. So we know b squared is equal to 16. Because 25 minus 9 is 16. So that's how you solve for B. So that should be 16 there, and your answer should be C. I hope you guys understood that. Y minus 3, just double check that, right? Just going to put an asterisk here. Should be fine, because from the focus to the distance between the foci is 10. So 2cc is equal to 5, and the distance between the two vertices is 6. So a is equal to 3. No, the answer can't be C. Sorry, the answer is B, because the transverse, yeah, I even wrote it down, but it doesn't look like B. Does not look like the answer is B as well, because B has a 2 there. Anything that has a 2, that's all eliminated. That's also eliminated. This one here, x minus 3 squared over 9. X minus 3 squared over 9. It can't be over 9. Y minus 3 squared over 16. It only looks like the answer looks like is D, unless there's an error in the question. Y minus 3 all squared over 16 minus x minus 3 all squared over 9 is equal to 1. What is its equation? From minus 2 to 8 is 10, c is 5, a squared plus b squared is 16. The hyperbola is vertical. It's a vertical hyperbola, so 3, 0, 3 and 6. Everything looks fine. I'm not sure what's the problem here. Everything looks fine, perfectly fine. Y minus 3 all squared over y 16, shouldn't be 16, it should be over 3, 9. The problem is here. Yeah, so I don't think it's any of the options here. The 2 is eliminated. X minus 3 all squared can't be this one. It has to be this one here, but it should be 9 and 16. It should be 9 here and 16 there. That's correct. Right, just let me know in the comment section below what you think about this question here, question number 39. Let's continue. If the hyperbola has a focal distance of 10, focal distance is 10, in other words, focal distance is c is equal to 10, okay, and a is equal to 4. What is b? That's not bad, because c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared, right? That's 100. A squared is 16, right? Plus b squared. Focal distance of 10. Focal distance of 10. What do they mean by focal distance? The distance between the foci is 10. Then it should be 5. Then it should be 5. Yes. What they mean by focal distance is the distance, and you can see the transverse axis is positive. Right. So this is a hyperbola that looks like this. The distance between the two foci is 10. That's what they mean by focal distance. They shouldn't confuse you. You should say the distance between the foci. Right. So we know 2c is equal to 10. C is equal to 5. Right. So that's 5 squared is 25. 16 plus b squared. So b squared is equal to 9. This implies b is equal to 3. B is equal to 3. So the answer is A there. Hope you guys understood that. Next one, classifying conic section using discriminant. Now how do we do that? So we have a general form of a conic section, which is part 5, right? Last part. Just have 5 questions on that. It should be done, right? How do we classify conic sections? Classifying conic sections, right? So we know D is equal to B squared minus 4AC. Now if D is equal to 0, we get a parabola. Okay, now the conic section has a special equation which we need to learn. We only need to focus on certain parts of the equation. So the equation of a conic section, in other words, the parabola, the ellipse, circles and hyperbola, there are 4 conic sections, right? 4 conics, right, is in this form, the general form. So you know you get an x squared plus bxy, you get an xy term, plus cy squared plus dx plus ey plus f is equal to 0. You get a constant. Okay, so we only need to focus on ax squared plus bxy plus cy squared, and then we just do b squared minus 4ac, and if that is equal to 0, we get a parabola. Now if d is equal to, if d is less than 0, if d is less than 0, we get an ellipse, right? Now further analysis tells us if d is also less than 0, we get a circle. Now when do you get a circle? If b is 0, if b is equal to 0 and a must be equal to c, the a and the c values must be the same. And the last one, the fourth one, right, the fourth one is if d is positive, simple, just get a hyperbola, easy peasy, right? That's it. Now let's look at these equations of classifying 41 to 45. Let's classify these conic sections. So we have a, b, c here. We got a, we have b, and we have c. So discriminant is b squared minus 4ac, that's a 4. B squared is minus 4 squared, minus 4, a is 3, and c value is 2. So we got 16 minus 24, right? And that's less than 0. So what happens when 16 minus 24 is less than 0? We get an ellipse. Why is an ellipse? Because we can see that this is not, we can clearly see that minus 4 is not minus 4 is not a 0. We have 3 is not equal to 2. Yeah, so it's an ellipse. Right, so I hope you understood that, guys. For the equation, so we got a, b, c values also. So d is equal to b squared minus 4ac. B squared will be 12 squared minus 4. A is 4, c is 9. So we're getting 144, and we're getting 16 times 9, which is also 144, 0. So if the discriminant is 0, we get a parabola. Perfect. Next one. Which conic section is represented by, which conic section is represented by this? So same, a is 1, b is minus 6, c is 9. B squared minus 4ac, discriminant b squared minus 4ac. B squared is minus 6 squared minus 4, a is 1, c is 9. So we're getting 36 minus 36, which is 0. Again, it's a parabola. I hope you guys are understanding. If the discriminant of a conic section equation is positive, if the discriminant is positive, that's a theoretical question. If this is positive, which must be true, it's a hyperbola. Give you that. And the equation, what's the equation here? We got 2, we got 4, we got 2, and we got minus 8 plus 12 plus 6 represents, what does that represent? We can see that a is equal to, we can see that a is equal to c and b is not 0. Let's check. Let's find the discriminant. Discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. B squared is yes, what is b squared? B squared is 4 squared minus 4, a is 2 and c is 2. So we're getting 16 minus 16, which is equal to 0. yeah, so 16 minus 16, which is equal to 0, so you say parabola, right? So I hope you guys understood everything, right? Don't forget, if you didn't understand anything, don't forget to leave comments in the comment section below, and all the best for your exams, your tahsili exams. Good luck, guys.